Hello, welcome to the Retro Game Club Podcast, Season 6, Episode 8, which is also Episode 171. I'm Rob, and joining me is someone that just added microtransactions to this podcast, Hugh.
That's right. Every time I make a reference to going to Midwest Gaming Classic, you have to pay us a nickel.
I was thinking we might want to add DLC to this podcast, too.
Yes, why not? We've never tried to monetize the podcast, of course, and nor will we ever.
No, this podcast is brought to you by HelloFresh. No, isn't every podcast brought to you by them or PCBWay?
It seems I don't know about the second one, but I hear HelloFresh a lot.
I don't know one person that's ordered HelloFresh.
Yeah, Squarespace advertises a lot, and I'm now a Squarespace customer against my will. I never planned to be.
Did you have Google domains? Is that what happened?
I had Google domains.
Yeah, that happened to me too.
Yeah, I'm getting all because I owned like a dozen domains.
Yeah,
and they're migrating. About one every 3 days, I get an email. They seem to be in reverse chronological order of when I registered them.
Okay.
So if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'll prove that theory out when I see which one migrates next. But I've just been getting all these here now. And Squarespace is not enabling auto renew on the domains it transfers, so I have to go in and to each one and click the auto renew button.
I've been moving mine to Cloudflare. I don't know why.
Yeah, I should. I mean, I use like AWS for almost everything, but they don't have a registrar. But yeah, a lot of Squarespace ads, definitely a lot of HelloFresh. Some sock company advertises on a lot of podcasts I listen to. If you listen to like Decoder, Apple Pay, that's one. Is it like
really?
Apple Pay maybe it's American Express with Apple Pay. I can't remember what it is now. I usually click fast forward because it's a really long commercial. That comes up on a few too. What
would be a good sponsor for us?
Well, see, the problem is the reason I never really thought about this is I don't like the sort of inherent conflict of interest. Like, let's say Atari started advertising on it, right? Or the Atari Holdings company, right? Like, there's a lot of things you just couldn't say about the company anymore.
Totally,
you can't be neutral. So anything that would be interesting to our listeners, right, like gaming-wise, we now could not have an opinion on.
Yeah, like if Amico sponsored us, and we'd have to...
Right. Yeah, do something with all that crowdfunding money.
By the way, I ordered something from them a long time ago that I won't get into because it's embarrassing. And it never showed up. Now, it's not like they didn't send it. The post office updated the tracking with could not be delivered. I don't know. I get things delivered every day, all day long, but that one thing they couldn't.
Okay.
And I forgot about it for a few months. And then I finally emailed Amico and said, hey, can you just resend this? I sent them the link to where it says could not be delivered. About every 6 weeks, I would respond to them saying like, hello. And every once in a while, someone would respond back like, sorry, I'm going to pass this on to someone else. And they
only have like one employee.
That was like 3 years ago. And about every 6 months now, I remember about it, and I email everyone who's ever been in the email thread. And it's been about 1.5 years since I've gotten a response. No, probably about a little bit less than a year since I've gotten a response. So they just flat out don't care anymore.
Yeah. Well, they arguably didn't care before.
No. But speaking of buying stupid stuff, there was a sale on Atari jackets from the Atari holding company.
Okay.
A company which I do not hate anymore. I think their current CEO is doing a fine job. He even said that he would have never released that Atari VCS monstrosity thing. But anyway, I get this jacket. It's a nice looking jacket. It fits fine. But it smells like gasoline.
Okay.
Have you ever bought anything that kind of has that like gasoline type smell? I don't know if it's because it's like some kind of plastic or nylon or something.
No, I mean, if you order stuff from like Redbubble, again, who's not a sponsor of the show, their stuff smells kind of funky when you get it because it's like printed real time. So I think it's like the printing stuff.
Okay, it kind of gets you high when you order it.
Yeah, it just smells funky.
Well,
right?
so I was like, not a big deal. I threw it in the wash by itself with like some regular, detergent and stuff. And I figured that would solve it. And I got it out, and after it was dry, and it still had a very pungent gasoline smell to it. And to the point where I didn't want this thing in my house. So I'm like, I'll just throw it back in the wash. But I threw it back in the wash with other shirts. And all of my t-shirts from that wash now smell like gasoline.
Interesting, yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not blaming Atari. It probably went straight from China to my house.
So I'm looking at the prices for Atari jackets on the Atari site. They're pretty expensive. But
there was some like 1 week sale or something a while ago.
But if I go to dhgate.com, hold on, it's where you buy bootleg like NFL jerseys.
Okay.
They're coming out of the same factory as like a regular NFL jersey, but they're like $12 on DHgate instead of. They have an Atari hockey jersey for $18.65.
Great price. Does it say what it smells like? Is it scratch and sniff or anything?
It depends on the size, though. If you wanted, like, let me see here. Choose an option. Large, medium. I'll go large. Let's see. Large, it's like 50. Okay. That's how they get you. It's just a hockey jersey that has the Atari logo on it. Again, this is bootleg. This is from, this is like an AliExpress type of site.
Yeah.
But they have Atari joysticks for $15. All kinds of cool Atari stuff. It's really to buy bootleg NFL jerseys, I think, is the purpose of the site.
Sounds about right. Do they have one letter off free of everything? Just
no, they really are just coming off like the same assembly line, I think. They don't look any different. Well, actually, that's the thing is like if you follow sports, you know that one company has taken over production of like all sports jerseys for all leagues, and the stuff they make is just garbage. Like people complain all the time that they buy a jersey for $100, an official licensed NFL jersey, and like you said, the name will be misspelled or it has the wrong number, or it's like the Packers colors, but it says Lions on the front.
Yeah.
and that's the official NFL store. So go ahead and buy the bootleg one.
Nice. Well, while I'm still blabbing about stuff I've been up to, like Atari jackets, I did see that 1UP released a Golden Tee, which I forget if I predicted that or if I didn't predict it. Because if I didn't predict that one, shame on me.
No, I don't think you predicted it. I think we previously talked about them announcing this.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember it being announced a while ago, but I've never seen one. So clearly it must have just come out.
I'm surprised new Golden Tee stuff still happens. Like it seems like it's just Golden Tee as a service now. But licensing the old versions is really smart and will probably sell really well, especially since it has online scoring.
Yeah. I mean, I don't go to a lot of bars, but I go to like a lot of microbreweries. And Golden Tee, up until video slot machines were legal in Illinois, there was a Golden Tee in every microbrewery in the state of Illinois. It was a law or something.
Same with Michigan. Yeah.
Right. And now it's all just, blow your money on game. I mean, at least Golden Tee is fun. You know what I mean? Like Golden Tee obviously is blowing money as well. Mm-hmm. But, video poker, video slots, I guess if you find it fun, whatever. But you're going to... I think I would prefer Golden Tee.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, I'd prefer those find what's different in the two pictures games. Just point and click games. But then the only last thing I had going on is I have been packing. This is our last episode before our next episode when I'm in Sydney. So I move in 2 weeks and we have many very fun pre-recorded episodes, including I don't think we've done the Aaron Nanto episode yet. We did an interview with him from PCEngineFX.com, which was a really fun interview. We had a few more like magazine reads and stuff, I think, too.
Yeah, I don't even remember. That's the problem. I don't remember what we've released and what we haven't. So thank you, Zach, for probably sorting that out.
Yes, he has been. But yeah, the next time we record in real time, it'll be probably strange times for each of us.
Yeah, we'll have to. We haven't even talked about it yet, so I don't know
No,
how it's going to
we
work.
got about, I predict in about a month we'll record again. Maybe a little longer than that.
Yeah, we will see.
But what have you been up to?
Let's see. I went to Midwest Gaming Classic, of course. I only went on Saturday this year. It was again really, really busy. It's really packed there, and it's in like the biggest convention center in Milwaukee. I don't know if it's the biggest in all of Wisconsin, but it's certainly huge. And yeah, I mean, it's a ton of people, a ton of cool stuff. I have to look at my own recap to remember what I really liked at the show. So someone, I know this is like the first thing I posted on my recap, but someone is making little teeny tiny arcade games, like the arcade, what are they, the My Arcade games?
Yeah.
Right, but it's not My Arcade. This is like Dragon's Lair and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Space Ace. So that was kind of cool. It was impossible to play them, but they look really cool. Did not really buy much in the vendor area. I bought some stuff for my kids. That was about it. A lot of people, I was shocked to see that people want like $200 for a Game Shark in the vendor area.
Yeah, that's weird.
Every Toys R Us going out of business sale that I went to had, I don't know, 300 Game Sharks.
Yes.
Give or take. I mean, I bought many 90% off Game Sharks at Toys R Us going out of business sales. So apparently I'm sitting on a gold mine of Game Sharks.
Yeah, you could retire off those. So I went through your photos and I love the Atari Zegs that had a post-it note saying like click here to play or something.
Yeah, click here to play, because the buttons aren't labeled.
And there's a lot of buttons.
Yeah. And they're just random colors.
Well, I'm lucky I didn't go to that because I would have been broke and would have had more stuff to ship to Sydney.
Yeah. It was a good time though. I mean, I know I complain about it being crowded, but I'm just glad. I'm glad it's popular. I've been going for 20 years now. First show I went to was 2004. It hasn't been every year. There've been 2 years off in that time. But yeah, still a good time. Still really enjoy the show.
Nice. Have you been up to anything else?
No, you know what? We were just talking about the Atari holding company in sponsorship. Atari bought Moby Games a while ago.
Yep.
And I was just trying to find something on Moby Games, and it's like, oh, if you want to search for that, you have to join Moby Pro.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Look, and this is like basically some of the stuff is features that were just part of Moby Games before. Again, remember, this is all user-generated content. I have submitted stuff to Moby Games, okay? I should probably take it down because I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get a cut of Moby Pro.
Oh, man. This is horrible.
Yeah, this is like the fandom model, right? Where it's like, maybe we can get people to write the content for us and then we collect the advertising revenue or whatever.
Yep. Wow. That's
so
sad.
I assume Atari Age Pro is next.
Yes, absolutely. That's funny. And, well, it's more sad than funny.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I like some of the things the Atari Holdings company does, but then there's a whole lot of stuff they do that is still very hacky like this.
Yeah, they're going to re-release Adventure and have the Easter egg be DLC.
Yeah.
And then an extra $19 or something.
The reality is for like Moby Games, if you really want to make money off it, just have links to, like, when someone brings up a game, have the eBay results for that game underneath it or something. I mean, like,
affiliate
that's not
links.
Even tacky. Like, I would actually I would almost find that fun to see the eBay listings for the game I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And then you get a nickel or whatever if they click on it, probably more than you're going to get from people that pay to have unlimited page scrolling or whatever nonsense they're charging you for.
Yeah.
Scroll
it's so sad. Well, should we do some news?
Yeah, let's see here.
Got some weird ones this week.
There's a bunch of stuff. It's a Hackaday. Is this a real product, or is this a thing you have to build yourself?
I think you got to build this one yourself.
Build it yourself. So this lets you connect modern controllers to the Atari 2600. You could just connect a Sega Genesis controller to the Atari 2600, you know.
Yeah, but that's not modern. This is, I think, is this USB and Bluetooth or just USB?
It's a Bluetooth adapter powered by Raspberry Pi Pico W.
Nice. Yeah, so you could use your Switch Pro controller.
Yeah, that's what I needed, a controller with 15 buttons to play the 2600.
I wonder if the analog stick would double as a paddle for Atari.
Okay, so that would be cool then.
But other than that, I see no big reason for this, but that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, again, a lot of the projects we talk about are useless, but they're good intellectual exercises, which is what this is.
Speaking of which, the next article on GitHub, there's this guy called Shaw Merlin, and he has released a bunch of NES stuff in the past, and this one came out just a few days ago. In fact, the last update was, 2 days ago. This is the NES-slotmaster. So this is for a front-loading NES, and it is a do-it-yourself open source cartridge slot 72 pin connector thing.
Yeah, so it's specs. It's on GitHub, but it's basically a set of specs.
Yeah, and I think this is a cool project. I think a lot of people could use this, but I am skeptical because I've bought third-party 72-pin connectors before, and almost always after a few games, the pins have come loose, like the pin holder things.
But this one you're building yourself, so if it breaks, that's on you.
Yeah, you could use like titanium or whatever, real strong metal. Let's see. Next one, have you heard of Pretendo?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Wii U and 3DS kind of open source do-it-yourself network. So you hack those things and you could play online games again, kind of.
Kind of, yeah. They only support a few games so far, or a few that are 100% supported. I mean, they talk about like Splatoon, which is probably what people want to play, is 87% supported, whatever that means.
So one thing they can't get around is a few games use their own SSL instead of using Nintendo's SSL, so those games will never work.
What do you mean they use their own SSL?
So to connect back, they had their own encryption. So
they use it.
Just a different kind of
A different kind of oh yeah. I don't know, Bob. Okay. So I'm not going to second guess that, but there's probably some way to get around it.
They probably just haven't gotten there yet. But this is a really cool service. This isn't new, but ever since they closed those online services, a lot of progress has been done with this, and a lot of traction is happening with this because a lot of people have been using it. So you could find people in Mario Kart to race and stuff like that.
If their FAQ is real, like these are questions they've actually been asked, then the people that want to use this aren't very bright.
What's it say?
If I am banned on Nintendo Network, will I stay banned when I use Pretendo? Like you've already, first of all, getting banned on Nintendo Network takes some effort because like it doesn't have chat or anything. Mm-hmm. Like I can't imagine what you do to get banned on Nintendo Network, but it must be pretty awful. But no, of course not. Nintendo has to me, I would never even think to ask a question like that.
So the only way I know how to get banned from it is if you pirate a 3DS game and you don't change the serial number that's baked in the game, if someone else loads that same ROM at the same time, both of you are banned. If you're both online at the exact same time.
Okay.
But again, I'm not sure that's even happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is similar to people bring back Dreamcast servers, so I'm all for this.
Totally, yeah. Speaking of being banned, on Mac Rumors, there was a Game Boy emulator that was officially released on the iOS App Store called iGBA, and apparently it had a bunch of really funky ads. It tracked you, and it was just a copy and compile of code with, this ads and tracking added into it of someone else's project. So it then got taken down. But then what else? Something else came up. Zach posted a NES emulator called Bimmy was briefly available, and then the dev took it down. And then now there's something that's still up called Delta for iOS, and that can emulate NES through N64. And that's currently still there.
Yeah, I don't really want to. I don't know. I don't really like playing games on touchscreen that much. I can't imagine any of these games are.
People
that
are
much fun
showing
on touchscreen.
pictures of like those controllers that have like a phone holder on them. So they're using a controller for these games. But again, you can use the touchscreen, and I can't imagine that being a good experience.
No, I don't know. I mean, like iPhone and Android games are like optimized for touchscreen. Like, Legend of Zelda, Metroid, those are not, obviously.
Yeah, Mario 64, probably not going to work.
It's not going to be a good time.
What else do we have here? We got a lot of stories this week.
Kickstarter for a NES game, called Storied Sword.
Yeah, this looks great. This is by Raptornaut, who does some of our bumper music. And looks like he met his goal. I am one of the pledgers for this. So I hope he likes shipping stuff to Australia. But this game looks great. It comically has a bunch of birds that hit you in the head.
Great.
Which kind of is like our topic this week.
Yeah, it's a little bit Castlevania, a little bit Ninja Gaiden looking game in terms of how it plays. The art style is different, but the gameplay reminds me of like Castlevania and Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, I think this looks cool. I'm excited for this one. I ordered the complete box cartridge, so I could put it on a shelf and then play the ROM.
Yes.
And it's how I roll.
All right.
I'll let you take this one, because it's my favorite one.
We have a topic called Doom running on things, or a category, but I think we should rename it this time to find this person and. No, but I'm not going to encourage violence. Enthusiast adds microtransactions to Doom. QR codes, direct payment UI every time you pick up an item.
I think that's so funny.
Doom, but when you go to pick up an item, a QR code appears, which you then have to scan on your phone and pay for the item. Now, he's not collecting actual money. This is just a proof of concept of how original Doom would work today.
I think this is the best project in a long time.
I think this is pure evil.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a joke, so don't anybody go and like dox the guy or anything. Like, it's clearly meant as a parody of modern gaming.
Yeah,
I was hoping there'd be like a GitHub repo, but I don't see one on here.
And the next one we have, I posted. Remember Lakka, the all-in-one RetroArch?
Yeah. We talked about that a while in an early episode. We talked about that.
Yeah. It's a great product, and it just reached 5.0, so a lot of big updates in there. And so I suggest anyone who likes their RetroArch to check it out.
Yeah, I saw an article. It was on a site about Raspberry Pi that I follow, was talking about this, but the Pi they showed this version of Lakka running on had like a giant heatsink and fan installed. So it clearly stresses out the Raspberry Pi now.
Well, the Raspberry Pi 5, it doesn't feel like the old school Raspberry Pis, because A, it's more expensive, B, they really want you to use that active cooling. Mm-hmm. I don't know, it just seems like they lost their way a bit and should get back to the basics.
Yeah, kind of. I will probably not be getting a Pi 5. I have 3 Raspberry Pis right now. Basically, 2, 3, and 4, all doing something.
This next article I kind of posted as a joke.
Okay. Epyx Collection coming to Switch. So this is 5 Atari Lynx games that will be in a compilation for $12.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Blue Lightning. California Games. All right. Electro Cop. Don't think I played it. Gates of Zendikon. Todd's Adventures in Slime World, and Zarlor Mercenary, which I have not heard of until this moment.
I've heard of 2 of these games.
Okay. The last one is the only one I have not heard of, and it is a top-down shooter.
So, I don't know. I already pre-ordered it, and I think it's funny that it's up for pre-order because it's only on the eShop. And so it's like, what's the point of pre-ordering? I guess if you want it at that midnight already downloaded, I guess.
Okay.
But I figured it was $12. It's pretty cheap per game, and I'm excited to be reminded about how mid the Lynx was.
Yeah, well, I remember Gates of Zendikon is a pretty alright shooter. I don't think it's bad. California Games, I don't remember if I've played it. The 2600 version is probably still more fun.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean this one's bad. I'm sure it's good. I mean, I like the way most Jaguar games look. I mean Lynx, I'm sorry. And I probably even own a couple of these because I have a Lynx in a bunch of games. But I mean, Blue Lightning, I think everybody has. You know, that's the Super Mario Brothers of the Lynx, really. Todd's Adventures in Slime World, I think I might have on some other. Was that released on anything else? Well, whatever. I'm probably not going to get this. I don't really like
it was a late night boredom purchase for me when I found this article. Kind of like, why not? Another way to play some retro games. And that is a lot of news we went through, and we do have a topic this week that I think was your idea.
Yes. Well, it kind of came up last episode about our most hated bats in video games. That's the topic. And I put a note here, like, I think fear of bats is one thing that connects all cultures. Like, the average person is afraid of bats. I don't know if there's a culture that is not, you know, that I don't know if there's any, like, again, a culture where they're like a revered creature. I think most people are kind of scared of them. I'm not scared of bats, but, you know, I certainly wouldn't want them in my attic. I've talked about putting a bat house in the yard, but my wife, because she's a normal person, doesn't want bats in the yard.
Oh, we have a bat house in our yard, and it's great. I mean, I just love watching them fly around in the summer, catching mosquitoes. You know, they're great.
Yeah, they're great. They are a high vector for rabies, but outside of that,
if you're platforming and you're jumping over a gap, and you have some hit back when you get hit,
yeah,
bats are bad, right?
They're bad, yeah. That's the problem. Is I could imagine, like, I have to fix something on the roof. I don't go up my roof very often, or ever really. And then suddenly a bat just flies into your forehead. I think that's what people are worried about.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that's why I noted that, because I think that's why bats appear in so many video games, because it's just a creature you can relate to right away as, this is not a thing I want flying into me.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah, and Sydney has those flying foxes. Have you seen those?
Probably.
They're huge. They're like the quote-unquote giant vampire bats from Temple of Doom.
I've probably seen them in a zoo. I also have not seen one in person.
They're kind of part of the lemur family. They're really cool creatures, but
Wait, lemur family, really?
yeah.
Okay.
So I would not want one of those landing on my face or something. They're huge.
Yeah, I have the Wikipedia page for Megabat open right now, which is about.
Is that our new sponsor?
Bats.
That would be a great sponsor.
Wikipedia or Megabat?
Megabat.
Okay. if that was a brand, yes. If Bats decided to sponsor the podcast somehow.
Yes.
We're really in trouble if Bats figure out how to buy podcast ads, though. All right, so I'm gonna tell you about a couple. You can chime in with some. I wrote. I talked about the Bat for Adventure last week, of course, or last episode. Mm-hmm. So the thing about that bat is, I think I mentioned last time, it can create unwinnable game states for you.
Yeah.
It can also drop off a live dragon. Somehow this bat can pick up a live dragon and drop it right on top of you, and it will steal your sword while it's doing it. So it grabs your sword and drops off a live dragon all in one swoop.
I love that.
It's awful. I like that they did it, but it's awful. I put down ice bats from Zelda are generally bad. They're in a few Zelda games, but Ocarina of Time, I think they're the worst because you don't always see them coming. You just like hear the enemies approaching music, and then suddenly you're frozen.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's the ice bats. Breath of the Wild, I put as being the only fun bats because like when you're out at night, they're like these big angry swarms of bats. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
And if you just shoot a bomb arrow right into the middle of them, it's very, very therapeutic.
Yes, very gratifying.
Yeah. So AD&D, Cloudy Mountain, also called Crown of Kings on Intellivision. So this is a game where you need to be able to hear. You're in a dungeon and you can't see ahead of the dungeon, and you need to be able to listen to like, the growls of monsters in the distance.
Okay.
But if there are any bats, the bats flap loudly and you can't hear the monsters. So then you have to use an arrow to kill the bat, but like on the higher difficulties, you run out of arrows really quickly.
Okay.
And,
I've never played that one.
yeah. But the other part is like, what bat makes a really loud flapping sound?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
It's just not realistic. Castlevania, I think we both put down. I'll let you talk about Castlevania more, but
Well, yeah, it's just the kickback, right? You could either die or speed run with the bats in Castlevania.
yeah, they're awful. And then I wrote the Bat Boss from Ys, if you remember that one.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a little bit difficult in the Master System version. They're like super easy in the TurboGrafx 16 version, and also pretty easy in the DS version. But on the modern version, so this is one that was originally released on PSP and is now is on Steam, they amped up the difficulty of that boss to 10. It's harder than the last boss. Not even close. You basically have to fight that one perfectly, zero mistake to defeat that boss.
That sounds not fun.
It is not. That is the only part of the modern version of Ys I don't like, is that Bat Boss. The rest of the game is very good.
Yeah, about the Legend of Zelda bats, the original Legend of Zelda, yeah, for me, they're kind of annoying because they could just ruin a great run. If you misjudge them a little bit. I think Pitfall 2, you remember the bats in that?
I don't, because I've barely played that.
You can't duck in that game, and the bats come at your head, so you got to try to like get into the underground, like the water, before they hit you, or somehow get away from them. I haven't played the game too much, but it's pretty annoying when that happened. Adventure Island, they aren't horrible, but since it's a one-hit kill.
Yeah. You wrote did you want to do Ninja Gaiden? I saw that on
Well,
here.
that's number one, so I was going to save that.
Oh, you're saying, okay, sorry.
Ghosts and Goblins, they seem like a bit higher than some of the weapons. So you kind of sometimes have to do like a mini jump to get them, which is really annoying.
Like if you have that axe.
Yeah. Alf, you ever play Alf on the Master System?
No, but I'm aware of the bug you're talking about.
Yes, you have to get the Slami so you can hit the bats, and they have random hitboxes.
Well, no, what they have is Alpha is one of the only games that uses the VDP hardware sprite collision flag.
Which is not good.
It's not good. So if the bat collides with any sprite, it registers as a hit on Alf.
Oh, okay.
Because the game code is just checking, have any two sprites collided? And if so, that's a hit. Because I guess they assumed there weren't ever scenarios where, two non-Alf sprites would ever collide.
It's so dumb.
This is why no one uses that feature. Like,
Yeah. But yeah, number one is Ninja Gaiden. I hate those bats with a passion. I even remember as a kid specifically thinking, I hate these bats. Why are they like this? Mm-hmm. It, I, I really do think that's the number one worst bat. Could you think? I couldn't really think of any like 3D games where they had horrible bats, other
Yeah,
than
maybe I haven't
Legend of
played
Zelda.
enough. I mean, obviously Zelda, we mentioned. Like, I don't remember. I played all the Uncharted games. You would think there'd be a lot of bats in those games, but there's no bats that are enemies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lara
So
Croft. I don't remember bats in that. No.
yeah, I kind of missed opportunity on some of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Quake, there's no bats, but I think you're in a whole different world, so maybe that's why.
But it's funny. I hate bats so much in games, but I thought we'd have a longer list here, but those are all I could come up with.
We have a bunch. Listeners sent in a few,
Yeah. Yeah.
although some are ones we've talked about. I think there's a few particular bats that are just infamous.
Should we do some game club?
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about a couple games here.
All right. How about a 2006 PSP game called Daxter?
Yeah,
So you watched a speed run of this one?
I watched the speed run of it. I actually, as much as I'm a huge PSP fan, I don't know this game.
My PSP came with this one, and I never beat it. I'm actually still playing it right now. I'm probably 3/4 of the way through it. It's not a very long game. So this is the first time I've played it since like 2007, probably. Whenever the silver PSP came out, that's what I
Okay.
have. It's definitely a product of its time. So it's a 3D platformer, some puzzles, and it's kind of a collectathon too. So this takes place between Jack and Daxter and Jack 2. I guess Jack goes to jail at the end of the first one. Spoiler alert. And so 2 years goes by and you kind of forgot about your buddy. And you get hired by this guy, and I think it's called Hollow Town, something like that, to exterminate all the metal bugs.
Okay.
And so you collect gems from the metal bugs that you kill, and you also collect weird eggs. I don't know if they're like bug eggs or something. And you get upgrades and stuff like that. And people give you a bunch of side jobs, which actually it's almost a game of all side quests. And I like this game. So he's like a furry little rodent type animal. He almost looks like a ferret. And I guess I would call this game like a proto Ratchet and Clank, which is one of my all-time favorite series. And I haven't played any of the other Jack games, so I do like this one. You get a electric bug zapper, like a fly swatter type thing, and a poison gun, like, you know, that does like the mist, like in Looney Tunes cartoons kind of, and then the same one turned into a flamethrower. And you could point those down to hover or hover higher. And yeah, this is a great game. It looks beautiful. It looks better than a PS1 game. It plays better than a PS1 game. The developer did the PSP God of War games, which were great, and did Okami on the Wii, and now they do Oculus Rift games.
Okay.
The music is nothing really to write home about, but the gameplay is great. It has a lot of early 2000s and late 90s references, like The Matrix and stuff like that. Kind of very late 90s humor.
Mm-hmm.
And it does have that kind of everything's brown look like everything in the early 2000s had. But is this game pique your interest at all? I know you only got to watch it on YouTube.
No, I only watched. Yeah, it to me it looked like kind of like faster Donkey Kong 64. Is sort of what it looked like to me. Again, without playing, it's hard to tell. I think I could get into this. I think it looks fun.
It's good.
I mean, again, with speedrunning this time, it's I was gonna say sometimes it's a little hard to tell what's going on sometimes. But you know, because he just blow through things. But I brought up Donkey Kong 64 because like he's like a rocket pack, like it's the kind of thing Diddy Kong would fly around in. You know, that's me what it reminded me of. And yeah, I think it looks like a perfectly fun game. I would definitely like to track down a copy of this.
That is a good call. I think it does play a lot like one of those earlier Rare games. And I did want to mention that it does have some puzzle elements in it, almost like Simon Says type puzzles where, X's, squares, O's, or triangles crosses, not X's, are coming at your character, and you have to hit in that direction and the right button, and you do like kung fu moves and stuff like that. And it's pretty fun. Sometimes it gets a little bit frustrating, but give it 5 minutes and you'll get the puzzle. But I highly recommend it. And it was reviewed very well when it came out too. So it's not just me that likes this game.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to yours.
Yeah, I would with Shadowgate. So this is on my, so it's a game I've played many, many times. It's one of these puzzle games that, I don't know, will probably take you 8 to 10 hours to figure out if you aren't using a FAQ, and then afterwards you can win it in like under 15 minutes. The world record speed run is like 10 minutes, and you can get close to that even if you're not particularly good at speed running. So I mean, the idea is basically you're brave knight going into this castle filled with deadly puzzles to try and get the evil wizard. That's the kind of the short version. Mm-hmm. And there's all kinds of like creatures from mythology. At one point you meet a sphinx who has riddles and that kind of stuff. But it's a puzzle solving game. It's like a King's Quest game, but first person view. Because it's all point and click and actions, and it's like King's Quest because you die a lot.
Okay.
There's tons and tons of ways to accidentally die. Like there's various potions you find, and there's one potion you have to use to get an item later in the game, but some of the potions just kill you in comical ways if you drink them. And really the only way to figure it out is to just try each one and reload.
And you're supposed to take everything you find, right? Just rocks,
yeah, you
everything.
Don't have to take everything you find, but I mentioned the Sphinx. Like sometimes the Sphinx asks you, all the Sphinx puzzles require you to show an item, and most of the items are things that are otherwise useless in the game. So there's a lot of inventory. You're walking around with a huge amount of stuff by the end.
I love that.
Very nice graphics. It's been ported to a few things. I think I linked to like a PC version. It's on Mac. It's on, I think I mentioned Game Boy last time. NES is probably the version most people have played.
Would you say it's like a better looking wizardry? Kind of?
Yeah, it's a decent comparison. To me, it's a lot like playing an old text adventure game, but now you're actually interacting with the scene. So if you're not good at like visualizing stuff that's described to you in a text adventure, then this is a little bit better because you can actually see stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's some of the things are not obvious. Like which objects in a room you can actually interact with. There's not really any indicators. This is not like a modern game where something will have like a little bubble will pop up if you are hovering over something you can interact with.
Or it'll sparkle in the distance so you know to grab it.
Exactly, yeah. So you don't really, in a lot of rooms you don't really know, like, oh, that thing on the wall, can I take that? Or can you basically, it's a lot of clicking on everything in the room to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that kills you. Sometimes you click on something and you die in some humorous way.
Yeah.
So what did you think of Shadowgate?
I'm not a console game reader. When I'm playing games, I'm not really reading for the most part. And so this one didn't really grab me. It's weird. Like on computer games, like you said, King's Quest, I'm fine with reading. But if I'm playing a Nintendo, I'm probably not in the reading mood.
Mm-hmm.
And I do remember in about 4th or 5th grade when the neighborhood kids that I grew up with had this game, and he would invite me over and then go to play this game, and I felt like he invited me over to watch him do homework.
Okay.
Like I didn't come here to watch you read.
Yeah.
And I would like to say that this has great music.
It does, yeah. Awesome soundtrack.
But yeah, I think I need to give this game more time. Wait for when I'm in the mood for it. And what are you going to play for next episode?
I am going to. This is me like forgetting how our episodes are timed because I was going to do this. Like, I should have done this like 2 weeks ago, but I'm doing WWF in your house.
Nice. I already got this working on my Steam Deck, so
Okay,
I'm prepared.
good. I wasn't sure if you'd be able to play it while you were traveling.
No, I prepared for this one. And speaking of traveling, I will be playing Mad Max because it's one of the only games that I could find that takes place in Australia.
I suppose so, yeah. Yeah, I looked at the list of games set in Australia. I forgot about golf games.
Well, there's a lot of cricket games, some soccer games maybe. But that's it.
Yeah, well, a ton of golf games. I was shocked. Like nearly every golf game has an Australia level.
They're supposed to have some of the best courses in the world. I've never played golf, so I wouldn't know. Not even once have I played golf.
I have not either. I mean, I play Wii golf.
You're the only other person I've met that has never played golf.
I suppose, yeah, maybe. I think you go to Midwest Gaming Classic, I would say 9 out of 10 people there have never played golf.
That's probably a good point.
I don't think there's a lot of golf. I'm not saying people there are like out of shape or anything. I'm just saying I don't think golf and attending a pinball convention are probably not a ton of overlap.
Well, the thing is, and a few of my friends and I talk about this sometimes, when you're adult, you could really only have, unless you're like really rich, you can really only have like one expensive hobby.
Yeah.
Golf is expensive, video games are expensive, music's expensive, fishing is expensive, hunting, all that stuff costs a lot of money. So you kind of got to pick one.
Yeah. I mean, fishing can be really cheap, but most people that really get into it go crazy with like boats and stuff. I mean,
yeah.
I could buy a fishing rod at a garage sale and go to the lake by my house and take that up anytime, but I guess I wouldn't be catching like the kind of fish you want to photograph or whatever. Whatever you do. Like, yes, if you're out to catch like walleye or something, I don't know. Is a walleye a fancy hard fish to catch? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that's different than I could grab a few, I don't know what's in the lake by my house. Carp? Was carp a lake fish? I don't even know.
So you don't want to eat those. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Asian carp has probably made it into the lake by my house. I think you're supposed to call them something else now. I think we're trying to get away from that name, but you know what I'm talking about. The invasive. Yeah. I think do they want to call them silver carp? Is that what they're?
I don't know.
Yeah. They were worried that, they would be, I don't know, discrimination because you're calling this fish that's from Asia the Asian carp, right?
Yeah.
Even though you're doing that to indicate that it's invasive, it's not native to the U.S., whereas silver carp sounds like something that might, what's wrong with that? Don't we have silver carp everywhere? Those are all over the place down here. I know that much. That almost every body of water in the Chicago area has got this invasive carp right now.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure the whole U.S. is like that.
Yeah, it's bad in the Great Lakes region. I think was hit pretty hard by it, and I don't know. You can't. I guess I don't get off topic, but it seems every problem's easy to solve if you're not the one that has to solve it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, why don't we just catch them all and like bring them to homeless shelters? You know what I mean? Like they're edible, right?
I think that's like that Seinfeld episode where the top of the muffin episode where they only,
yes, that's probably right.
And the homeless guy's like, I don't want to eat the bottom of the muffin.
That's true. They probably aren't very good, or else if they were really tasty fish, someone would be doing that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't. We have a whole industry that convinced us lobster is a delicacy. So I don't know.
Speaking of which, we have some email.
Yeah. Someone writing in to say I'm wrong about lobster already. Jordan writes in, says he can't believe that Super Metroid is turning 30 and Zero Mission is turning 20. He can remember playing and purchasing both of them at launch, in addition to Metroid Fusion. And he still plays Super Metroid once a year. But the reimagining of original Metroid and Zero Mission is a masterclass and so often overlooked.
Mm-hmm. I did finish that game, by the way. That was a gem of a game.
All right. Is that on the Switch Game Boy collection now?
Oh, I don't know.
Game Boy Advance collection?
It's on the Analog Pocket.
Oh, okay. Well, Yes. He also demands justice for Super Mario World. We sound like an old geezer telling kids to get off our lawn. He says Super Mario World has the best music in the series, inventive new features, and refines the incredible gameplay over Super Mario 3.
See, he's probably not wrong, but I have more fun playing Super Mario 3.
That's the kind of problem. I agree on the music, though. I will agree with that. The music is very good. And he wonders what games we're looking for later this year. He mentions the new upcoming Trails game, Trails Through Daybreak. Metaphor Refantasio. Did I pronounce that correctly?
I don't know. I haven't heard of that one.
I have not. But I'm looking forward to the new Trails game, and I think East 10 is supposed to come to the US this year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to East 10, and man, I just forgot about every single video game. I can't think of a new video game that I'm really excited for. How about the Epyx collection on the Switch?
Yeah, Epyx collection. I did pre-order Super Mario or Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, even though I played it, but I played it like 15 years ago. So I figured that's a pretty good gap.
Mm-hmm.
That's not new, of course. I think I mentioned that last time too, because I got it from Target because Amazon pre-orders were sold out, and nobody knows that you can pre-order games from Target.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think literally nobody knows you can pre-order games from Target.
Man, I'm trying to think of what games I'm looking forward to, because I stopped pre-ordering and buying new games because I didn't know how long I would have this address.
Yeah.
Evercade is actually releasing some new really cool cart collections this year that I'm excited for, and they announced a new type of cart. It's in the same format and it'll work on all the same devices, but it can support what were CD-ROM or DVD games, so it could get it a little bit more modern emulation in there. So that might be fun too.
Okay.
I didn't know they had to announce. It's called the Giga Cart or something, and I didn't realize that they had a problem like, 650, 700 megs didn't seem like that much to me. But if I guess you're only charging $20 a game, I guess you're looking to use the smallest amount of RAM chips as possible.
Well, all I know is when I typed Gigacart into Google, it says, "Did you mean Giga Chad?"
Definitely not.
Definitely not what I meant. But if you scroll down, you do get to Evercade Gigacart, which is 2 words. That's probably why.
Okay.
Apparently,
It's like
that's
spelling
2
Load
words.
Runner wrong.
Yes. Well, yes. But yeah, I see it here. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it was a strange announcement, but I really like what they're doing. It's a good company. And
And note to Google, I will never mean Giga Chad.
yes, I wish you could put that in there. I wish you could say like, never recommend this again.
Yeah. Oh boy. Gameatroid sent some social media feedback that I like. Liked the Alien Abduction magazine in a good way. Enjoyed the comments. Good. And thinks Super Metroid is so much better than the original.
Again, you're probably right. I love Super Metroid. It's a flawless game, but I could just play the first one over and over again. And he also hates bats and Ninja Gaiden as well.
Okay. I see that, yes.
They're rage-inducing.
Some other bats that people hate. Deadly Towers has a couple of picks.
I've never played Deadly Towers.
I have, but I don't remember the bats. I have to play it again now. Nate mentions bases loaded. I think that's fine. Adventure, of course, gets 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2 gets a couple picks. Alex Kidd in Wonderland. Giant bats on the last level of Castlevania. And then one I forgot about, in television, Night Stalker bats. And that's bad because they don't kill you. They just sort of like stun you for a while. Like you get hit by a bat and then you fall into like the fetal position and then other enemies can kill you.
Oh, nice. It's like when Indiana Jones gets hit and he just starts dancing. Oh, no, it's when he hits people, they start dancing in Temple of Doom. And I just looked up, what's it called?
Deadly Towers?
Yes. I just looked up Deadly Towers, and I have played that game. That brain cell is just totally dead.
Yeah, it was
who
like
could
a
forget that
rental
cover?
in 1987. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I haven't played it since then.
Yeah. It apparently didn't stick with me that well. But thank you all so much for writing in. Again, that is email@retrogameclub.net. Email@retrogameclub.net. Our next question of the episode is best worst in-game maps. And please listen to our episodes we release over the next few weeks. I'm really excited for them. And I'm really excited to, after that, record from my new house, which is about a quarter of the size as my current house. So we will see how I sneak into some room for quiet to record. There's no basements there. We're in a 3-bedroom terrace.
Okay.
The garage, I'm not lying to you, has 3 walls. And that includes the garage door. So it's in the back, and just the side that faces the house is totally open.
Okay.
So I can't put expensive stuff in there because someone could just hop a fence.
What's the purpose of the garage door then?
I don't know. I guess to make it so people would have to hop the fence to get over. But yeah. I'll try to find some pictures from you. It's pretty wild. But again, that is email@retrogameclub.net. If you play Mad Max or WWF in your house, Shadowgate, Daxter, any game with a bat, if you mod your NES, if you use Pretendo. Actually, I really want to know if people use Pretendo. Please email us, email@retrogameclub.net. And thank you for Zach for doing all of our social stuff. We're on every platform. I think we have our link tree in there. And he also organizes us. So thank you.
Yep. Thank you. And thanks everyone for listening.
Yeah, see you on the other side of the world.